You're listening to the Average Sports Guys podcast with Eddie and Marcus.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is March 14th, and this is Eddie.
This is Marcus.
And we are the Average Sports Guys.
What's going on?
So, we are new to the podcasting game, if you will. Marcus and I I guess you could say we've been best friends for a couple years now.
Absolutely.
And so, we're just here, essentially just to talk sports. We are what our title is, just Average Sports Guys.
Absolutely. Do you want to get into any more about yourself? Let the listeners know what they're working with.
Yeah, so I'm originally from California, but we currently reside in between DC and Baltimore. So
Right.
I can't rock with them Baltimore teams.
Not at all.
So I got to go with the Redskins, the Wizards, the Capitals, and the Nationals.
Absolutely. And I'm actually from the Philadelphia sports market. I was actually born and raised in southern New Jersey, so we're talking anything Eagles, anything Sixers, anything Flyers. Anything from the Philadelphia sports market is what I was raised on. So definitely, I'm a huge Eagles fan. We won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and we got to build on that and see what's going to go on this offseason and make better moves.
So having said that, some may wonder, okay, these guys are best friends. And Eddie's all things Washington, them Redskins. Marcus is everything Philly. Them Eagles are in the same division.
Bird Gang.
How can they possibly do it? But we will 100% be bringing you unbiased, just regular as it is, opinions, facts, what have you.
Absolutely.
Even before we started this, being a Redskins fan is like being in a bad abusive relationship that you can't get out of. You should walk away, but you just can't. So usually we're getting our teeth kicked in at some point during the season. So Marcus and I will just, BS about that. But, I don't take it personal because it just is what it is,
And likewise over here with the Philadelphia sports market, especially with my Eagles, half the time we're trying to talk each other off of a ledge a little bit because we're always getting upset at, X, Y, and Z coaching call. Well, Doug Peterson should have did this and, but we're trying to be, as objective as possible and just give some average sports guy opinion.
So basically we will, on all of our shows, be breaking down the NFC East, obviously heavily with the Redskins and the Eagles, but we will have our fair share of basically shitting on the Cowboys.
Absolutely,
because that's what everybody loves to do. Unless you're one of those Cowboys fans, then hey, everybody ain't perfect, but
Absolutely, and we definitely got to talk about those Giants too, because they're definitely hurting right now.
Like, what are they doing up there?
What are they doing?
Well, that's actually a great segue into what, first and foremost, I think we need to talk about. Let's get into this sports thing.
Absolutely.
The Cleveland Browns. So you just mentioned the Giants. They dealt Odell up to Cleveland.
Absolutely. Olivier Vernon, he's over there too.
Right. So let's just get into that. What is going on? What did you say? We were talking off air a little while ago. What'd you call them? You said they're assembling the Avengers.
Avengers assemble. I essentially think that John Dorsey of the Browns, he's their new GM. He started out with Kansas City, built that beautiful team up there, and now he moved on to the Browns, and he's totally killing it right now. This dude is straight up Nick Fury. This dude got Odell Beckham Jr., he got Olivier Vernon. He already sitting there with, Baker Mayfield and Jarvis Landry. They
got the rookie Callaway.
They got Callaway who's got
receiver.
Burners. They got Nick Chubb. They got everybody.
Kareem Hunt.
Like, these guys are looking pretty nasty now.
And then not to mention their defense was already nasty anyway because they got Myles Garrett coming off the edge.
Myles Garrett on one side, Olivier Vernon on the other. What are you going to do?
They're young. They're animals. To me, they're just about everything you want in a defense. But let's talk about Baker Mayfield.
That man's a gunslinger.
I thought he should have been in, from game one. But I understand Hugh Jackson. Right. He wanted to give Tyrod a chance.
Right.
It's no secret. We knew Tyrod wasn't going to finish the season.
Not at all.
I never wish anybody to get hurt, obviously. we knew it was going to happen. He's just not durable. But not only that, he, in my opinion, especially watching him on Hard Knocks last year, you could just see Baker just had that it factor.
Right.
And I don't know, man.
He's a natural born leader. I totally agree, 100%. Like he's just that guy that's always about having fun. Just that whole camaraderie piece. He's definitely comes off like a leader of men. So also, this moves me into my next point with Baker. I definitely think he'll be able to handle a diva like Odell Beckham Jr.
And I was just getting ready to say that.
Yeah, because I mean that dude is 100% diva, and I think that's part of the reason why. The Giants had to move on from him because ultimately they're going to be looking to bring in a young quarterback. And the last thing you want is a top 5 receiver yapping your rookie quarterback's ear off after Eli's gone. So they definitely had to move on and start the whole rebuilding process.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, and Baker is a fiery guy.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, just looking at the pieces that they have, obviously they have a new coach coming in and that system, which – again, I think will suit Baker well.
Right.
If anything, to me, they're going to be probably one of the funnest teams to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
If anything else, so
I'm totally watching. I'm watching game 1.
Right.
I'm watching game 1.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna get away from that. We just had. I mean, that was just when the news broke. Was it yesterday, or the day before? When Odell got sent up there, which I had told you before the combine. I was like, I can see him in Cleveland.
You called it,
and it happened. So that was cool. So we are going to get into some of the latest moves that the Redskins and the Eagles have made. So let's start with the Eagles.
All right, so the first news that I heard of coming out from the Eagles camp in the Bird's Nest, we signed Malik Jackson to a 3-year, $30 million deal. In 2017, according to Bleacher Report, he came off of an 8.5 sack season, but last year only had about 3.5. But based on what I've seen on YouTube, this dude is a complete monster, and lining this guy up next to Fletcher Cox is definitely going to be a problem. In my opinion, overall, I think he's a total upgrade over Timmy Jernigan, especially after him having those back issues last year. On top of that, we definitely signed Deshaun Jackson, 3-year, $27 million.
That's going to hurt us.
That's definitely going to hurt because he's a former Redskin.
Although we brought in my man Landon Collins.
You did.
So
it's gonna be a little bit of a battle out there, especially when it comes to Eagles Redskins game, because Landon Collins, I do respect him definitely as a definitely seasoned vet safety back there. So Deshaun Jackson, $13 million guaranteed. Last year, he averaged about 18.9 yards per catch. And, going and listening and reading some of the blogs with some of the Philadelphia sports market, they're like, oh, man, why did we sign him? He's old. He's this, he's that. 18.9 yards a reception is nothing to shun or throw away or what. No, that is a big deal. This dude still has burners. He has 589 career catches and 10,261 receiving yards total throughout his career. So this is all coming from 247 Sports, but I think this guy still can be a problem, and I definitely think he's going to open up the back end of the field for our opposing defenses.
Well, yeah, I mean, not only that, but I mean, like you said, I mean, he's still got burners. He can still potentially take the top off of defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be a huge safety blanket for Carson Wentz.
100%, because I'm worried about that guy.
I think, obviously, you guys still have some more needs to address, as do the Redskins and hell, probably just about every other team.
100%.
Not named Cleveland. But no, so you guys, I mean, if you could solidify a run game, and you guys still have your tight end, was it Ertz?
We still have Zach Ertz. We still have Alshon. We still have, even our running backs, even though they're not top-notch, they're definitely serviceable.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, if your line can hold up, I mean, to me, the way I see it as it is now, obviously games aren't played in the offseason and all that. But,
not at all.
I mean, you guys are still favorited to win the division.
On paper.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the Giants have going on up there.
It looks like a total dumpster fire. They're like going to be in the basement. I'm sorry to trash these Giants, but they're looking pretty bad.
But you know who I feel bad for? is Saquon Barkley.
Man, this dude is
They're
looking
gonna
like Will
run
Smith after they cleaned out that house. He's like, where my family at?
Yo, they're going to run that dude into the ground because they don't have any other options. I mean, obviously, they'll try to address something in the draft. I mean, is my best guess, but that'll be interesting. But Dallas, they just don't have no money.
They don't have any money. They've done nothing. They signed a guy. I don't remember his name right now. They signed a guy from the minor leagues to come in and back up Jason Witten, who they just pulled out of the booth, apparently because he was anemic.
Right.
Like, listening to this guy on TV was apparently god-awful. I didn't really listen to him that much.
I
but-
didn't think he was that bad. I mean, he was new, I mean. But,
There's a learning curve.
right.
Oh, man.
And then when Steve Smith was on NFL Network.
I was just about to go there.
And he had said, no, I'm not going back to play. He's like, I'm actually good on TV.
I'm actually good on TV. I said, ooh.
I said, why you do that, man?
You
Like
have to do that. But that's Steve Smith's personality, though. If there's a jab, he's definitely gonna hit you with one.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what's going on with Dallas down there. The
Dallas.
Giants dumpster fire.
Total dumpster fire.
And I mean, hell, even us with the Redskins, and I'll get into some of our moves that we've recently made.
Right.
People we've acquired, people who have left, but. Our quarterback situation is up in the air. So, I mean, the way I see it right now, as is, assuming Carson comes back completely healthy, which I believe he should be because they wouldn't have gotten rid of Foles. They would have made sure he was still there.
Right.
But it's your division to lose.
100%. It's definitely we have to tighten up the game plan a little bit because like Eagles fans, we will criticize everything down to the snap count. I think we need to make, smarter game plan decisions. There's a couple of times last year where we're on the opposite side, of the field, and we're literally in the red zone, and instead of going for it or instead of making the correct call and of running the ball, we'll have like some type of bubble screen. We just got to tighten up the calls a little bit. But going back to the whole free agency market thing, I think also. Another reason, going back to your point about Carson Wentz, why we had to re-sign Jason Peters, the bodyguard. I mean, yes, he's older. Yes, he's going out like literally every other game. But at the same time, the question always is, well, who are you going to replace him with? So, bringing him back for one more year, getting some of our depth guys, back up to speed and developing those guys, I think we'll probably move on from Jason Peters next year. Speaking of that contract, he's got a $3.5 million deal. And this is Bleacher Report again. It's worth $10 million, but he has $5.5 million guaranteed, which isn't a bad contract at all.
It's somebody at his age. I mean, he's basically Philadelphia's version of Trent Williams.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, same tier. Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
those are guys you're definitely going to find, in the Hall of Fame and things like that. Those are guys that should stick around forever, and then they're just the staple and the cornerstone of the franchise.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah. So, I'm excited. The Redskins brought in Landon Collins. Now, everybody freaked out when they first saw the numbers. 6-year, $84 million. You can't look at that. You have to look at the guarantees.
It's a show me number.
Right. So you have to look at the guarantees. Essentially, the deal is 3 years. Was it $45 million?
Yep.
So us being in the cap situation we are now, I mean, he's only going to count $4 million against the cap this year.
Right.
Now, next year, I believe it's like $14 or $16 million.
Okay.
But everybody's cap number is going to go up. The year after next. So if you look at the essentially the average or the percentage number,
right.
As the years go on, the percentage, it's not like it jumps and jumps and jumps up higher. So I think it's a team-friendly deal. They can essentially get out of it after 3 years. But this dude lays the wood. And
he's definitely not afraid to lay somebody out. He doesn't care. He's one of those guys that's definitely going to make a play on the ball. I think that, sometimes he might jump, a little bit more than he should. But in all, compared to when you guys brought in Ha last year, I definitely think it's an upgrade.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Now, having said that, we do need to address obviously the safety position. We can't just roll with him. I think as it starts now, I would go with Monte Nicholson starting opposite him. I mean, he's younger.
Right.
Obviously,
get him the reps.
He got himself arrested right at the end of the season last year. Throwing haymakers outside of a bar.
Hey, man.
But I mean, maybe 1 game suspension, whatever. But again, I think we'll address that issue. Let me rephrase that. I hope that we address that position as well. Troy Apke, we drafted him last year. He was often injured. I mean, that kid can fly. But I think at least for now, assuming he's healthy, I mean, he gives you some great speed on special teams or whatever. But back to Landon Collins, I mean, I'm excited, probably not as much as him. And the reason I say that is because, well, first of all, he got $84 million. Secondly, I mean, this guy grew up and idolized Sean Taylor, Sean T. So everybody in the DMV that follows the Redskins, I mean,
dude was a
even
problem.
just if you follow the NFL, everybody knows about Sean Taylor.
Absolutely.
We've all seen his highlights on YouTube, hard hitting, all that stuff, ball hawk, the whole nine. But Landon Collins really has modeled his game after that. And it was interesting. I saw Dan Snyder when they went out to dinner last night, gave him, apparently he has 2 signed game jerseys left from Sean Taylor, and actually gave one.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And so I was watching the press conference earlier.
Wow.
And Landon was actually getting choked up, and he was saying like he couldn't even like touch the jersey for like 30 minutes or whatever.
Oh, absolutely not.
So I mean, that dude pays immense respect to the position, to the game, and to Sean Taylor. So I was hearing on the radio too, they were putting out the question, well, should he wear 21? At first I was, I think my first thought is, wait a minute, no, like you can't disrespect that number. But I mean, having thought about it, I think it should be Sean Taylor's family's decision.
Absolutely.
If they're okay with it.
I totally agree.
And Landon wants to do that. Now, my only thing with that is, because I know how Redskins fans are, because I'm one of them, the second he's wearing that number and he misses a tackle, something like he gets burned,
it's
or whatever,
over.
And
it's over.
Say the first month or so of the season, he's just kind of, then I don't want that for him.
Right.
You know,
you got to think about that side.
Yeah,
you got to play devil's advocate.
DJ Swearinger's up out of here, so 36 is available. I mean, Sean Taylor wore 36.
Right.
He wore 26 in college at University of Miami. So, I mean, there's different avenues. But overall, like, I like his leadership that he's bringing.
He's definite vet. Absolutely. You got to have him in the locker room.
And not only that, he's a straight dog.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we need. And I mean, DJ was that, but I mean, his mouth ran his ass up out of here. So I mean, what are you gonna do? And yeah, I mean, you had mentioned earlier, which he just signed with the Bears on a 1-year deal. God bless him. I'm fine with that. I get it. He's an Alabama guy. I mean, it seems like we've been going to that Alabama well in the draft the last couple of years.
And it's been working well because that defense, I don't care what anybody says, that front four is dangerous. Your linebackers are legit. You just have an overall, in my opinion, solid defense. I mean, everybody has holes. Everybody has things they can work on. That's why you brought in Landon Collins and maybe a corner. But outside of that, you still have a pretty legit defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how to go. We got Matt Ioannidis, John Allen, Deron Payne.
Yep.
We got Tim Settle, who can come in and put his hands in the dirt and get after it as well. This would be his second year.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's interesting. I do think we need to address a linebacker position. And I say that assuming Reuben Foster is going to eventually serve some sort of a suspension for what had happened last year, what he was accused of. But it'll be interesting. I mean, we got the draft around the corner.
Yes, we do.
So, I mean, we'll definitely see that. Now, some of the key guys for the Redskins that have moved on, we have Jamison Crowder. He signed with the Jets. I mean, that's a great deal for the Jets. I mean, he'll be a good outlet.
Absolutely.
He's got short hands when healthy. I mean, that kid can run routes. I actually met him, and he couldn't have been nicer, more humble.
Right.
So, I mean, I think the Jets made out well.
Absolutely.
Preston Smith, I can't say I'm sad that he's gone. I mean, Green Bay.
Right.
I think they're getting a good player. He's a good, solid player. Maybe they can get more out of him. I know he'll get his sacks in bunches and all that stuff. Now, the one thing I don't necessarily like when people look at edge rushers. They just look at sack totals. That's like trying to look at a quarterback and say, but how many wins does he have?
There's more to the picture than that.
Because Preston Smith does, and he has had interceptions.
Right.
He's batted balls down.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's pushed guys around that may have hurried up the quarterback.
That's what I was about to say.
So that's what I'm saying. So he's a solid all-around player.
Yes.
So, like I said, I mean, had he stayed, I would have been fine, you know, but, I mean, at probably the number he was asking, well, ultimately, I mean, you look at the contract that he got in Green Bay. Right. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I mean, he's getting paid. The Skins just weren't in on that, and that's fine. You know, I don't know if we're gonna slide Ryan Anderson, linebacker out of Alabama.
I like Ryan Anderson.
You know, I know his first year he was injured. Last year, I thought he played well, especially in spots. So we'll see. I mean, we got Rob Ryan on our defense. So I believe he's solely coaching linebackers.
That's a defensive mind right there.
Yeah, you know, all them the whole Ryan family.
Ryan family, yeah.
So I'm excited about that. Now, Case Keenum.
He's a guy that you can stick in there, and you could just ask him not to screw up. That's his job, not screw up. Your job is to hand it off to Adrian Peterson or Geis.
Yeah.
You know, make legit throws, and that's it. That's your job. You're a bridge guy.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I think I just hope Redskins fans temper their expectations and don't think he's going to repeat what he did in Minnesota that year.
But what did he have in Minnesota? He had running backs, he had receivers, and he had a legit offensive line. And when healthy, your offensive line is legit. I don't care what anybody says.
No, so I'll agree there. Now, the key component missing, receivers. We don't have a Diggs. We don't have a Thielen.
Yeah.
We have Paul Richardson coming off of shoulder surgery, so we'll see how that is.
Jordan Reed.
When healthy.
When healthy, yes.
We have Josh Doxson. I mean, that I don't even want to get into that. Not on this show. We'll kick that can down the road. When you know, later shows we'll go position by position.
Oh, absolutely.
And
got to break that down.
I would trade him to anybody for tater tots and a ham sandwich at this point, to be honest with you. Anyway.
He's got to catch it.
But so
that's your job.
So to bring it back, you did say or mention AP. So we did re-sign AP, two-year deal, $8 million.
There you go.
That second year, I believe, is an option. So my thought is, okay, you bring Geis back in off the ACL. They can call it what they want through camp, competition, whatever. Adrian Peterson is a great mentor for Darius Geis. They can split carries.
Yes, they can.
I still think AP will be effective. Because you saw in the beginning of the season when our line was healthy.
Right.
I mean,
you guys were running the ball down people's throats.
I mean, he was doing well. I mean, even after most of our line went down, I mean, I think we had probably one of, or if not, like the highest offensive line combinations.
Absolutely. I think it was 15, 16, maybe even 20 different combinations they said last year.
I mean, it was ridiculous. And AP still found a way.
Gashed us for 93,
96 yards. I was just about to say that. Mark Sanchez's best play as a Redskin was that handoff to AP.
Oh, man. Out of the end zone. And I was upset because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, all you got to do literally is just fill all the gaps on the line, and there's nothing to. Everybody and their mom knew it was going to be a run play.
Right.
And what does Jim Schwartz do? We're going to go wide nines, leave the A gap open. And what does AP do? Yeah, I'm going to run it straight up the gut, gash for 96 yards, and score a touchdown. Yeah. I was heated.
Nah, I mean, hey, once I saw him plant that foot,
I said, "Oh God!"
and get his shoulder square upfield.
There's nothing you can do.
And he got to that second level. I said, "Oh man!" Man, that boy gone.
That play's still burning in my soul. I don't care.
I just saw it earlier today.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be a highlight.
But yeah, so then the most interesting thing to me. So just to kind of touch on the draft, we'll get into more of that on next episodes leading up to the draft.
Right.
But Rosen from Arizona. Now, the way things are looking, obviously Arizona has the number 1 overall pick. Yes. There's connection between Kyler Murray and their coach. I guess they got the same agents, whatever. I can see him going there. He'll probably go 1-1.
Yeah.
So they're going to get rid of Rosen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him into DC.
That'd be a nice move.
I've been hearing and reading a whole bunch, to give up the 15th pick. Would you do it? Would you do that? I mean, reports out of Arizona is they're fine with taking a second or a third or whatever. So, I mean, I obviously would try to give them the least. I wouldn't. But ultimately, if it took and required that first overall pick, 15th slot, or excuse me, not first overall pick, first round pick, 15th overall, I would do it.
Absolutely.
Because there's nobody else really in the draft that at 15, because you're not going to move up. I mean, you can't. What are you going to mortgage? I mean,
absolutely.
We tried that with RG3. Now, having said that, if you believe in your guy, that's your guy, then you do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Nobody can tell you any different.
However, not this draft. Because you can't move up to number one to draft Kyler.
No.
So if it did require that 15th pick or 15th overall pick to bring him in, I would do it. Because you know, as you were saying before, like our offensive line, obviously health, being the question mark, but essentially if we can keep him upright and our run game does prove to be what it is, teams can't really, how do you say it? Like, you can stack the box if you want to,
but you're still going to get your yards.
Yeah, you're still going to get your yards. You're still going to have, Jordan Reed. You're still going to have some of your wide receivers, whoever the hell they're going to be. But that it should open things up for Rosen. But again,
Play action will be there.
Yeah, you don't want him dropping back 30, 40, 50 times a game.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because that says a lot. A, you don't want him throwing that much, and B, that means your run game is non-existent. Now, Jay Gruden has in the past gotten away from the run when he has a quarterback that can throw and will throw. So I just hope he doesn't do that, because I think Geis is going to be an animal. Saquon,
absolutely.
He won't be on that level. But I think he'll be more than serviceable. I mean, the dude's strong as hell. He's fast.
He's going to get you five and a half a carry easy.
Yeah, and then like I said, you're splitting him with AP. We still have Chris Thompson. Again, health. Yeah. If he can stay on the field. I like
Chris Thompson. He's like Sproles 2.0.
Right. So, I mean, we'll see. But again, I think our team situation setup for Rosen is better than what they have going on in Arizona now.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we'll see. But I don't want the Redskins to say, ha, we've solved the quarterback issue.
Oh, no.
We have Keenum.
Nope.
We have Colt McCoy. For some reason, the team won't acknowledge or whatever. They just still keep saying Alex Smith is coming back. He's coming back. I mean, I saw the injury just like you did.
I saw it once. It was enough. I saw it one time. That was done after that.
Right. And I mean, we're definitely not medical experts.
No, not
at all. But
they have the best doctors in the world. So
but I mean, you look at that, and I saw it was he was at, was it a Caps or Wizard? I think it was a Wizards game. He was with his son, and they showed him he had that metal contraption thing around his leg.
Wow.
And with all those pins like screwed
in
there.
No, nope.
Right. And so, but people are still saying that he still has that on. He is, I mean, what are we, 5-6 months removed from the injury, from the surgery, and he hasn't even begun like major rehab. So clearly he won't be there this year.
No.
My own personal opinion, I don't think he'll play football again.
No, I think he's done.
Yeah.
I think he's done. It's too late in his career. There's that injury apparently was one of the worst that we've seen in recent history. Yeah. There's not too much that I mean we did see Peyton Manning, like obviously with the neck injury, he did come back, but he just wasn't the same guy.
Well, I mean, it ended Joe Theismann's career.
Oh, there you go. That
same injury. It was a home game. Same. I mean, everything was the exact same. I think their age was off by like a year or something, but it was like on the same day.
They did say 30, that. Yes,
33
I remember they
later,
quoted
whatever.
that. Yes,
that shit was creepy. But I mean, I don't know.
You got that's. I mean, when you're throwing it, I mean, a lot of it has to do with your legs. So, I mean, if the leg's not right, I mean, what kind of quality of a career would you have after the fact if you're trying to get back into being a quarterback when you're not necessarily 100% or even close to half of what you might be?
Right. But then there's the trust factor. I mean, look at Carson Wentz coming off of that ACL. I mean, they always say, okay, so it's like 6 months. I mean, I tore my ACL
They said
too.
6-8 months, but it's really more like a year, a little bit over a year to actually get back to 100%.
Right. And part of that 100% is actually trusting the leg, trusting the knee, that you can plant, cut, do whatever it is you need to do, essentially without thinking about about it. So, I mean, God bless Alex. I mean, for sure. I mean, if by all accounts, I mean, he couldn't be a nicer guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely a nice guy.
So, I mean, for me, like you hear about the injury, or excuse me, infections and all the multiple surgeries and all that stuff. I mean, hell, I just hope the guy can walk.
Absolutely.
You know,
that's a blessing and a half to be able to walk.
Yeah. I mean, let alone playing football.
Right.
But since we are here to talk about football and to talk about essentially the moves that we're making and not making and what we hope to make, so
right.
I will end it on that by saying I hope like hell they bring in Rosen because there's nobody else out there,
right?
And just build around him, get a receiver in the draft.
Absolutely.
You know, or an edge rusher. I mean, I don't know. You can stack that defense
and see what it can do. On the Eagles side, you know, we had a few people leave, or a few people that are potentially about to leave. I'm going to start off with Jordan Hicks. This guy signed a huge contract, in my opinion, for his career. $36 million deal, $20 million guaranteed with the Cardinals. Jordan Hicks, in my opinion, as far as Eagles linebackers, he's one of the smartest guys, especially when it comes to identifying exactly what the offense is doing pre-snap and getting his guys, you know, lined up and set and everything. I think he's one of the best linebackers I've ever seen as far as making those calls. But unfortunately with Jordan Hicks, he's just not the healthiest guy. This guy stays injured. I've only seen him play like pretty much a full season last season. Like when we first got him, it was a pectoral injury. I'm pretty sure it was something with his leg. He just can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the field. So I do completely agree with, you know, the Eagles not, you know, giving him that kind of money because you don't know what his health is going to be like. You know, if he's going to be able to play for a full season. There was that, and then, you know, Golden Tate. Now Golden Tate is an interesting guy.
I wanted him, man.
Oh yeah, I bet you did. I loved him. I mean, the time that he got there, you know, it was a slow start. You know, getting a few catches here and there.
I honestly thought they could have featured him more early and often.
Yeah.
I mean, because I understand, you know, there's the learning a new offense, learning, you know, cadences,
learning the playbook.
Yeah, all that type of stuff. And, you know, that takes time. I mean, we saw it with Amari Cooper, up, you know, down in Dallas. But that guy gets open.
He gets I think it's his technique, it's his feet, it's what he does with his head. He's just one of those guys that there's nothing you can do about it. He just gets open. I mean, even going back to the playoffs, you know, playing the Bears, which I thought, you know, that was probably, you know, I thought we were going to lose that game up until, you know, Nick Foles, you know, tricky Nick gets down there and just throws that pass and he uses that head fake to catch that ball into the end zone. In my opinion, you know, bringing him there just to experience that and just to get us to, you know, a place where we can play the Saints in the next game, I thought that was totally worth giving up a third and then getting a comp third back next year.
Right, yeah, because I was going to say, because he signed with the Giants.
He signed with the Giants. He definitely signed with the Giants. And the crazy part is, it's like, this whole offseason, this guy has been, like, on Twitter trolling the Eagles. Like, this guy was like, oh, word? Like, you're going to sit there, you're going to sign Deshaun Jackson. Oh, you're going to sign Malik Jackson. Well, just so you guys know, like, just kind of like
Cole Beasley was doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing. It's kind of like that girlfriend that, you know, you just kind of like, you're dating for a little bit. You just, like, leave alone. And then they're still, like, sending you tweets and texts and just throwing, like side shots, and your friends are telling you about it. That's exactly how I feel Golden Tate was acting in this offseason. Like, he put up stats, like, which is a legit stat. Like, don't get me wrong, I love this guy, but you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, if a team doesn't seem to think that you fit their system, then, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Granted, you were great for us, but I think he'll definitely, especially now with the Giants, he'll be better off. I mean, looking at this guy's numbers, and this is another Bleacher Report stat, this guy, you know, has, in recent history, 23 forced missed tackles. That's like the most out of any receiver out there right now. That's a big deal because he's one of those yards, not just catching the ball. This dude has crazy hands, but yards after the catch. This dude dances and makes people miss. It's crazy.
Yeah, I would say his yak numbers are vicious. And again, that's why I wanted him to come to Washington.
If he was a Redskin, I'd probably be upset.
Yeah, I mean, and
I'd be pretty mad at that.
I mean, okay, so now having said that, he's still within the division.
Right.
Eli is. you know,
Yeah.
at this
Back
point,
end.
he is a Jag, just a guy.
He's just a guy.
But yeah, I mean, you already know he's gonna try to ball out against you guys.
And it's definitely gonna fuel. It's definitely gonna fuel that guy. He's like, they didn't resign me. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna put up 300 yards receiving and do all this. Hey man, do what you do. Make it do what it do. But I think our defense is still pretty solid. Leading me to my next point, Ronald Darby. He's definitely being shopped around, or he's actually not shopped around. He's actually looking for, more money, and I don't blame him. When he was healthy, he, in my opinion, was the best corner on the squad. He had a little bit of a slow start, but once he actually started trusting, his legs again and being in coverage and things like that, I definitely saw him as the best cornerback on our team. But, ultimately, once again, what happened? He got injured. Mm-hmm. So, I'm thinking, like Howie and the rest of that front office, we can't give up a ton of money to a guy, once again, who we can't depend on. I loved him as an Eagle. He made a ton of legit plays. He was on that Super Bowl squad, great corner, but right. I think I'm leaning towards, as far as my Eagles, is, leaning a little bit more on our younger talent. I mean, even going back to the Saints game in the playoffs last year, we had guys like Crayvon LeBlanc, Rasul Douglas, even Avonte Maddox. These guys were balling out. Right. That's the best I've seen them all season. I mean, most of those guys came in during that Cowboys game, and they just looked a little bit out of sorts, just because they're like, oh God, like
they're fresh.
Yeah, they're fresh. They're like, oh my God, I'm actually in an NFL game. And then I think over the course of the back third of that season, the game slowed down for them, and they just started, trusting their instincts and making plays. I mean, dude picked off Drew Brees. We're talking Drew Brees here. That playoff game, like, that was a big deal. That was the opening play of the whole game. We just turned around, snatched that bad boy out of the air. Yeah. So I think going into this next season, I think our younger cornerbacks, they definitely have a lot more confidence. And the rest of Eagles Nation is going to agree with me on this next point. Rasul Douglas, in my opinion, can start on probably about half the teams in the league. Mm-hmm. He's a pretty legit corner. I just don't think he's gotten the amount of reps that he could have gotten, and I think that's all because of how great Darby was for us. Right. So I think we should definitely be giving him a definite shot this year. And then as far as Jalen Mills, that guy's got to work on that double move situation, because anytime there's a double move, you can see a guy like 5 steps beyond him, catching it for almost a touchdown. He's got to work on that. So, yeah, going back to, the people who are, leaving the Eagles, Ronald Darby, if he does sign somewhere else, he will be missed. And then we just had, a breaking news update. We definitely see that J-Matt is going to be signing with the Niners. Yep. J-Matt, we drafted the guy. I love him. He's got good hands. He's a good slot guy. He definitely creates separation. He had that big catch in the Saints game, last season, with Nick Foles and that long, I think it was like a 40, 50-yard pass, things like that. So, no, I wish him all the best going to the 49ers.
Which, I mean, he should help them out with Jimmy Garoppolo coming off of that torn ACL. I believe it's torn ACL.
Yeah. Jimmy G.
And, I mean, hell, the way I see it, anybody in Shanahan's offense, he's going to get you open.
Oh, he's definitely going to get you open.
And Jimmy G can get him the ball. Yeah. I think he'll do well there. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I mean, also, I like Shanahan as a coach. I mean, look what he did when his time when he was with Atlanta, and he had Julio Jones and Matt Ryan. Mm-hmm. These guys were sitting in the Super Bowl. Julio Jones, at that point in his career, in my opinion, he was the best receiver in the league. There's nothing you could do about it. You put the ball up, this dude snatched it down, and then you're sitting there, your corner's looking around like, what the heck just happened? Right. You know what I mean? So, Kyle Shanahan out there, I think he's going to do a great job.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Well,
and, last and final point, we have needs with this Eagles team, just like any other team. We definitely need a linebacker. Yes, we did sign a guy by the name of L.J. Fort, $1.9 million deal. Apparently, he's more of a special teams guy. Took 29% of the snaps last season, but most of the time he was on special teams. This is another Bleacher Report stat. We definitely need to find a running back. At this point, I mean, I don't know if we really have a guy that we really want to sign. I mean, Tevin Campbell was out there.
we'll give you Rob Kelly.
I don't know about all that. So that guy was out there. I'm sorry, Tevin Coleman. Coleman. Tevin Coleman was out there. I was hoping to scoop him. I knew that Mark Ingram wasn't going to be an Eagle just because off the strength of the smack this man was talking last year. You can't talk that much smack and then go ahead and hop on get the green on. So I knew that definitely wasn't going to happen.
Well, especially with your guys' fan base.
Oh, absolutely not. We would have let you. That's one thing that you guys have to understand. Whatever stories you hear coming out of Philly as far as our fan base, believe it because it probably happened.
Oh, everybody knows
It's
true. I'm telling you, I will never. I will never go to Philly to watch any sports game. If I did, I would wear just a black T-shirt.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't rock your colors in Philly because it's just like going out west and set tripping. You don't want to do that.
No.
I mean we're the type of guys that in the middle of the winter in December we're throwing snowballs and beer at Santa Claus just because he has on red. That's right. That's the type of base we have.
So just to get off of football real quick, we're talking about from DC and Philly shit.
Right.
You guys got Bryce Harper.
Right. Oh yes.
So I'm the only reason.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
First, I will just say, and we'll keep this whole baseball thing short, but I'm all for it, man. Go out, get your money, right? But you go to a division rival, and then
the division rival.
Go to Miami.
Go somewhere else.
Like, if you're gonna stay in our division, go to Miami. Like, nobody cares. But he went to Philly, and I mean, he's making FU money. I mean, that dude, he's getting paid now.
It's like 300-something million.
Yeah, so net was, I guess, it's like 330 million
over 10 years.
Okay,
like
so the dumbest part of that deal is the 13 years no opt out.
Right.
Interesting. Right? Interesting. And so you would think normally after a couple years you'd be able to opt out or the team be able to opt out or whatever, but that's neither here nor there. I was saying all this to say your fan base. So I was looking at Twitter and everything else once they signed. Hey. So when it was reported, okay, Bryce is going to go here, he's going to go there. Oh, he may, Philly's back in play. No, Philly's out of it. People were saying, F you, Bryce, F you this, F you that, da-da-da-da. And then once it dropped that he signed, then it was, Bryce, we love you, man. We love you. I mean, you guys sold so many tickets that very next day. Jersey sales that very next day. Now, good luck. And to Bryce and to the fans, when he's hitting, like 250 something, he's slumping. Let his ass go 0 for 4 in a game, two strikeouts, whatever. They're going to let him have it. Yeah. He is not used to that. No, the DC media, I don't know if it's because, it's like a transient area and all this stuff, but for whatever reason, the DC market, and this is a credit to all like the beat reporters and stuff like that. I mean, they've asked Bryce questions, but he just straight up last year said, I'm not going to talk about contract stuff, da-da-da. So they just left it alone. Right. That ain't flying in Philly.
Oh, no. We're going to dig at you. We want that answer. Right. We want that answer. We give you this money. We're going to need them answers.
So, what is it? April 2nd and April 3rd, you guys will be in town. Yeah. And so it'll be Scherzer and then Strasburg. Yep. So that'll be fun. We should hopefully be able to go actually watch that game. Right. That'll be fun.
Definitely.
Yeah, so
possibly give you an update afterwards.
Right. So we're off the baseball stuff. Yeah. So that concludes, our show for today. Again, hey, this is our first show, it's our pilot show. Right on. We're gonna keep getting better and better and just bringing it to you how it is. Like I said, we are primarily going to break down our two teams and then the NFC East. And then once we get into the season and things of that nature, we'll do a little bit of the fantasy stuff. We like doing that. We'll try to get some guests on, right? Throughout the season and do some stuff, right? But yeah.
Last point, Cowboys Nation. We didn't say too much about y'all yet, but we're coming for you. We're definitely coming. You're not off the hook yet. We're going to definitely talk about your situation because, you guys got a little bit of issues out there, especially on your defense. We're going to break all that down.
All of it. Like, all of it.
All of it. All of it.
All right. I'm Eddie.
I'm Marcus.
And we're the Average Sports Guys.
Thank you for tuning in.